Action.
Hello, this is Heather Davis. Welcome to night 4 of Chandelier. We started this wonderful art salon in January. I see our first artist was Robert Schwan right there, who is now covering the footage, and that was fantastic. And then we had Rachel Sorsa last month doing a live jazz combo in here, which was incredible. And now tonight, I have the good pleasure of bringing in a wonderful new friend of mine, Runson Willis, and I'm going to say a few things before I invite him to come up. I first met Runson about 6 months ago when I was walking around the neighborhood showing for my husband's art show that was coming up in December. I had made cards. He was going to do a pop-up show in our house, and I saw Runson behind the Lanas, and he was displaying art, and I was like, wow, I loved his work. And I went and I gave him the card, and then we have been talking ever since then. And we got to know each other much better, and his heart for God, his heart for music, his heart for art, his heart for community, and we share a lot of those things. And it turned out that First Lutheran Venice, this beautiful church that you are here enjoying tonight, decided to make him our first ever artist in residence just this month. So he now comes to the space and he has a special terrace where he can paint in peace and in the shadow of the church of the bell tower. And we're so honored to be able to lift him up. So when we first decided to do this, Runson, who a lot of people know in the area as a really talented musician, and they've seen him in a lot of clubs, and I'll see him every couple of days. He's promoting some gig he's doing, but he goes, Heather, I just want this to be about my painting, and this is really where my heart is now, and I want to showcase that. And I said, that is fine. We're going to pick 12 paintings, but you have to give me 2 songs. so he said he would, and so we're going to have, we'll open with a song, and then he's going to share a variety of things he's been working on for the last year with all of you guys, and then I think he's agreed to close with a song. Runson said he's totally fine. If you have a question in the process, just shout it out. Like we did the first time with Robert, people were just peppering the questions. Whatever it's about materials or supplies or meaning or process or whatever, he is game and he loves to talk. Just be forewarned, the answer could be long. I'm just letting you know. It could be a long answer.
All right.
The other thing that I will say, it is that you take all the time you want, it's your night, is that he, like my husband Lon, loves to work on found materials. So you will see things tonight where he has worked on old pieces of wood scrap or old canvases, and he will talk about that as his process. And I think there is an extra dimension that we get out of art that does that. So I am going to now turn over the microphone to my good friend, Runson Willis. Will you please welcome?
So Heather asked for me to play some music, and I'm just going to share from a place of real testimony. And sometimes, you go through things and you just need like a little sign of some sort to just get through the day, right? And I remember a specific day when I just kept seeing butterflies just everywhere, and I just felt like God was trying to remind me of when I was a young boy and how I would play with butterflies so much, and only God would know something so that was so intimate to me. And so I wrote this song that kind of it reminds us about those little things that God might remind us of when we're going through a weary time. That is to keep us and take heart, in the midst of your struggle and your trial. So this is a butterfly.
so hard, oh so hard, trying to find my way. But when I see you, I see God's gracious. Oh, when I see you, I know I'm in the right place. Butterfly, you seem to know our pain. Because you only come after it rains. Oh, when I plant my seed, watch it grow, yes, through the summer, through the snow. But when I see you, yeah, I see God's grace. Oh, when I see you, I see you, I know I'm in the right place. Butterfly, you're a sign, bloom, yeah. Butterfly, I hope that I see you soon.
I'm just gonna let you do your own thing. You want to start with the big piece, the only one that's been revealed so far?
Yes.
You want to talk about it?
So this piece, I mean, it's
Hey, do me a favor, stand up, let's speak that out of the way so everyone can look at it.
yeah, right. You're right. Not you're right. So I guess I could pick it up for a second. So this piece right here, I really love it because when I go source wood, a lot of times I will try to find really obscure types of wood, even stuff that like is kind of messed up, and it's just beautiful to see how you can transform something from, you know, maybe as they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. But that's kind of how, like when I started doing carpentry, I would like take really old and strange pieces of wood and kind of save it until, you know, it's the right time. And then when I found the right time, and you sand that thing down and you polish it and you look at this beautiful piece, it's so God kind of does that with us, right? You know. So this is a piece that I'm blessed to actually have this style of painting right here. It kind of really helped me to kind of express a lot of things that I really, a lot of emotions and different things that I really didn't have the words for, and it kind of helped me to like transition into a different type of painting. I was doing a lot of line drawing and trying to figure out a way to speak, but not go completely into realism, and really, you know, like let people who take photos, and let people who want to create creative art, like myself, create creative art as opposed to painting photos. So this is kind of like the entry point of this style, but also being able to remind myself of what I'm about to show you guys. That kind of, it came out of learning how to just take shapes and colors and use them as ways to express yourself. So,
Does that one have a name?
I mean, no.
Okay. Good answer. So one question is, does anyone, would you like him to take the mic as he walks around? Would you hear him better? Yeah, let's have him take that off the stand, and then you can hear him better.
Are those pieces of wood on top of there, or is it just, can't tell from here?
This is all wood, actually, yeah.
The
and
wood, but the cut on top, is
It's
that
acrylic.
It's acrylic paint.
on the wood?
Yeah. I like acrylic. I like oil too, but.
And he was saying it could be hung this way, or it could be a tabletop, or like for a buffet or something like that. And so he's had people interested in it. I've been fielding some calls from New York today with people trying to lock things down before tonight's show. But you guys all get first dibs because you're here. Okay.
I have just a question about
Yes.
this process.
Absolutely.
So, did you do one color at a time, or did you work with all the colors all the time?
So sometimes what I'll do is I will start with one color and I will put it in all of the places I feel like I want it to be. And then I'll kind of, sometimes I'll use really strange materials to get these shapes in. You know, I force myself not to use a brush. So none of the, did I use a brush for you? For the most part, okay, so you're gonna see something fun. So for a lot of the color and different things, like specifically this one, I use this technique of like palette knifing, and it kind of makes you like, oh, like what if I could just paint this whole thing with just that? And so I started doing that more, and that kind of like became a part of the process, or gives it more of like a rigidness. But if you're into that style of painting, you should like find like a card. Like wood business card or like a metal palette knife, and like you could really just like make some really beautiful shapes. Yeah.
You want to do that one?
Sure, why not? Yeah. So
Do you want me to turn it for you so you're holding the microphone? There you go. You know I love this one.
yes. So this one, like I've been on stage a lot and like right next to like musicians when you're like playing a show. So like I've like seen musicians from very interesting angles, and like I've definitely also been in the audience. You know, you're like standing in the audience and there's somebody just playing and like right in front of you. Like so I like to paint kind of really intimate, like you're that close to the person. And this specific one is kind of just an individual that's in the sunshine and with a pair of overalls, kind of midday, just playing the guitar. And I like this, Italian that we call impasto. There's a couple of different names for it, but it's when you build up the paint off of the page. And it's something that, actually a friend of mine who's here right now, he drove down from Ohio, he saw that like I was really getting into that, and he started bringing me materials and tools to use to kind of like make it a little easier. So definitely, thank you, John. But so the impasto style is very ancient, but it's a lot of fun. And if you guys do get a chance to, you can come up and look, and you'll see that the way that you kind of create your shape and shade with this style is by building up where it's lighter or the reverse where it's darker, and then you can play with that. So it's a lot of fun, this piece right here. But yes, sunshine.
Sunshine.
Yes.
My birthday is May 12th. All right.
Actually, the latest, I just finished this a couple days ago, actually, because Heather was like, are you painting anything for the show? And I'm like, I am, yes. And I'm like, great, there's it was so funny, but no, this right now is like really important to me because I always try, you know how like you're just trying to tell people like we all need to like get along or we need to be together, or you're just like always telling people, and sometimes people are listening, some people are not. But I feel like Holy Spirit was like, you don't have to say it if you paint it. And so I started to paint people very, very close together and in very interesting, like stacked on top of each other. And it's cool because it's kind of a form of cubism, which I don't pay attention to any, I just be painting, you know what I mean? But it is like a form of 2D cubism where you're still playing with what's in front of something and what's behind it. But it helped me to have these conversations with people about togetherness without kind of like, it kind of just led them into it, knowing that we were going to talk about that, you know? So it's a band of individuals that just are together. And I think, like, regardless of our differences, we need to learn how to live together. Serious. So this piece definitely is one of my favorite styles of painting.
Are you naming it, Wolf? Does it have a name yet?
No, this
Wolf
one
is suggesting spirits. He'd like you to call it spirits.
Yeah, brother. Definitely. Let's talk. Process of getting ready for the show. I'm weird like that. Like I like to wait until like I have like 2 weeks, and then I will start painting. And because like you get the inspiration to like paint other stuff, and just like this style, I don't know. Like I really enjoy kind of taking people on a journey with this style. And I remembered, I'm like, oh, like I painted this other canvas, this other color, and I wanted to kind of do more, you know, in ode to love, but also to my sisters. You know, I feel like there's a beauty about, I think just something that we miss about our sisters that we need to dig in. And for me, my brothers are there tonight. I really want to tap in with you guys about that, like behind closed doors and who we are and how we treat them. We need to learn to be better in ourselves, and that's how we can help them the best. So that's what I want to say first before I expose that these are women from a tribe of Saharan Africans called the Wudabi, and I feel very connected to this culture and how they're kind of nomadic and kind of looked down upon, but they had this way about themselves that was so beautiful that it's like I had to, you know, the way the women's hair, like they had this crazy, amazing beads in their hair and just the way they dressed, and like it just seemed like they had so much love in art. So I wanted to do a little thing that was kind of an ode to this one of the ceremonies that goes on there. And this piece, like she said, the answer is long, but you know, this piece is definitely important to me because it's from within the last 2 weeks. And while I've been because I like to watch a lot of documentaries as well while I'm like getting ready for a show, because I'll paint something kind of in a different vein. So this one is the Wudabi, and I'm glad to present it to you. Oh yeah, I gotta sign it too. I needed to sign this one and but yes, any questions, anyone?
I was going, you mentioned I wanted to do this color, and I was wondering how you chose the deep rouge red for your bases on the first one you showed us.
So, how I chose it?
I mean, what was that coming from? What was the platform that
Because Heather told me she didn't like that color at first. And we were in the art store, and she was like, don't get that. And I was like, I'll get it. I'm getting it. And I did. And you know what? That's how I chose the color. I used it because I was like, I bet if you paint something beautiful on it, like she'll be like, that's tight. And she did. She didn't even think she forgot all about that. Got you. Yes. See? So like it was like a moment because like she was like, no, you should get that color. It was like that burnt orange. So I haven't used that one yet, but because I was like, I'm gonna show her. And so I painted this because I wanted to kind of take like the imagery that we both agree on that is some of the palatable imagery that I like to do, but then put it over a color that at first she was like, nah, I don't really like this color. But it worked. It worked out pretty well.
Fantastic. I was so wrong. Thank you for pointing
No,
out.
you're not. You're not part of a 3-parts ink series. And I've just been trying to find a way to talk to people without saying so much. And I was looking in this mirror that I was painting, and I literally kept looking away from myself. It was sad. It was actually sad. I was just like, what is going on? And I realized like I didn't even want to look at myself. And it just like that messed with me for like a good 2 weeks. But then I want to say, who brought me these? Someone brought me these pieces of glass right around when I was feeling like that, and I was like, you know what would be cool is if you paint a painting on a mirror, but leave just enough room to where everyone has to deal with the fact that they're looking at something beautiful, and they have to differentiate between the fact that if this is beautiful, I'm looking at it and I see myself while I'm looking at something beautiful, shouldn't I see that I'm beautiful as well? And so like that was the only way I could really like, kind of like, ooh, that, because I couldn't even deal with it, you know what I mean? Like, so I wanted to present that to everyone because we're beautiful, and sometimes we struggle with, you know, not fitting in or not feeling like we're adequate, and I think that it's really important to remind each other of those types of things. So I'm gonna draw one out today because I think that it mattered. Just seeing themselves, seeing themselves
Wow.
as beautiful.
No, could not be there.
So that's. Oh man. I'm like, don't cry, Runson. And so I'm stuck now. So during this time when I was kind of like working in this series and like kind of working through that type of stuff, I've been going to this coffee shop that I absolutely love. It's called Alana's Coffee Roasters, and they source coffee from around the world. Like sometimes they even actually go and like fly out to the places and they work with the coffee farmers, and it's such a beautiful process. And they always bring the stuff back. Like whatever they ship out, the bags that they ship it back in are incredible. Like the designs, all the different stuff on it, like, and they come from some from Ethiopia, some from a lot of different parts of Mexico that they work with. But at one point, I thought it'd be really cool to start to paint on these coffee bags, and so I started up a couple different series, but the one that I'm going to show you guys tonight from this one's funny because there was a point where I'm laughing because we all have been there. There was a point where like when I was like coming back into being a real human being, which meant like trying to come back outside, and I would stand at my door and I would be stuck. Like I couldn't, because like, I wanted to go outside, but I couldn't because I was still thinking about how broken I was from what the things that I had gone through, you know, and like that was I laugh when I see that, and I'm just like, I mean, obviously I came outside because I'm here today, but you know what I mean? Like there was just that point where, and every time I've talked to anyone about that, like having that feeling like where you want to go forward in your life, but you feel stuck, and it's kind of based off of us maybe even holding on to a lot of things that are still in the past, and you need to remember to let go of that stuff and move forward into it. And you know, that's hard, right?
Yeah.
That's a super hard thing to do, but I think that the valuable thing that I can say out of that is I laugh, but faith without works is dead. You know, I think in that you have got to say, hey, I need you to meet me where I'm at, even if it's outside of your door and you're traumatized. But so I kind of had to get over the fear and get back into being around people and playing music again and doing stuff like this. But now this is a painting that I wrote the name down, but I can't remember right now. But oh yeah, bewildered. Yes, it's like bewildered. It's 2 words, but it's bewildered something. But anyways, I wanted to share this with tonight because I think that it's a feeling that I have that I can say that maybe a lot of us have had, where it's your testimony, you know, share with people what you've been through to get to the place that you're at. And so, thank you for listening to me talk about this pain.
Does anybody have any questions before we go on to the second half of the room?
Yes.
You've just been amazing.
This is good.
Oh,
Am I all right?
you're fantastic. Does anybody have any other questions? Okay, so I'm going to ask one question that's been on my mind, and I've asked you multiple times, is as you look at your life and your work, the idea of which is primary, the art or the music. And they go back and forth, and you see in the artwork, and then you hear it, and so it's not something you can try and answer, but I know it's like an
Which one is
thing.
primary?
Well,
I feel-
which is you, however you want to answer it.
I mean, music is definitely second nature, but like, so is painting. Like, yeah, like, I think that with one, I might feel a certain way until I go through something that I need to pick up my guitar, you know what I mean? Like, and so that's like I think the beauty of, like, you can't have one without the other, you know, kind of like mentality. And certain gifts, they don't feel as soulful unless like you have to use another one to, like, when I was teaching, one of my students, he passed, and I was like, nope, I'm not teaching anymore. I quit, and that was right around the time when like carpentry and painting like just opened up for me, and I started working for a concrete fabricator. But it was like I needed that because I was so numb. I didn't want to play music. I didn't want to teach. I didn't want to do anything that had anything to do with it. And another gift came through at that time. I wasn't the best at that gift, like I felt like with music, but it was something that God gave me the opportunity to work on, to bring that craft and apply what I learned through music into this craft. And in that time, my heart healed enough to where I could kind of come back out and start playing again and just accept it. You know, life must go on, but if we hide our gifts, put them away, then we lose out on the opportunity to maybe help be a part of the change in somebody's life. So that's like, I hold us all to that today, because now we need to realize, look at how crazy the world is. Look at how people are treating each other. If we don't hold on to the fact that us sharing our testimony through, you know, you're not saying anything, you can just share a gift. You know what I mean? You can listen, but we need to be here for each other these days. And I think actually this next painting is really perfect to speak about it, because this is one of the first that I actually painted when I was thinking about everybody coming together. And I was kind of like, oh God, like how would I like paint, like what would it look like if I like tried to paint everybody together, just like in a cartoon way. And I started with, I had 3 prayers, and one was, it was like about paint what a man would when he's wishing for a house, as opposed to painting it, as opposed to keep wishing for it, you pray about it. And for me as a painter, you pray and you paint. And it was really funny because a friend of mine he had just gotten married and he had just bought a house, he was like, I need that painting. And it was beautiful to see how like him and his wife, they were drawn to it. And then the second part of the series was the 2 people sitting in front of the house talking about like what they're gonna do in the world. And this is the 3rd painting, and this is the 2 people after they actually set out to try to be a part of the change in the world. And so it's their family, but with all the many nations behind them. And it's people of many nations. So I hope we can plant a seed. Even if you don't like somebody, you can still be around them. You know what I mean? Like you can learn how to put that away. Say, you know what? My brother needs me. my sister easy, even if they acted ugly. Just pray for them. Yeah, so this piece is very important to me. And it's us together. And I think that was what was important for me to try to embody, is like just think about the examples you want to see, as opposed to continue to like try to force people to, like, you know, people going around like, you know, yelling in people's faces about change. It's like, you change, bro. Like, I don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? Like, so this is my way of like combating that, and kind of giving people the opportunity to ask questions that allow us to give answers on how we can create change, as opposed to telling people that this is the only way you can create change. That's how you create wars. You gotta start talking. So it's really hard not to talk to somebody who's that close to him. It's like, breathing on my neck. Breathing on my neck.
Hey, Runson, Pastor John had a question.
Yes, sir.
I love that baby. Top right, is that from here, is that a balloon? Or-
It's the sun, but yeah, it's the sun, but I put a little, like some feathers on like kind of like a dream catcher, like a palm tree, you know what I mean? Like,
Alright.
you know, Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream. Yeah, I got one too, you know, so. Yes.
I'm really appreciating the continuous thread that with this
The
and
reds.
really we're continuing the thread.
Oh, the thread.
Thread.
Yes, yes.
The line that has taken all of these shapes and their integration together, large and small, forward, backward, or forward, you know, in.
I lifted the pin very few times. I was trying my best to just like, and I sort of did it, which is like, I did it in pencil first. Oh my gosh. Because then I had to go back and ink it, everything. But it was beautiful to realize that in pencil, I kind of really didn't ever lift it up. And so that's how you kind of get the continuous nature of each person. And that's the thing that I realized, like, when you do lift it up eventually, you can't do the negative space. You have to do it in a different way. It's like really interesting. Like, everything becomes even when you don't lift it up. But as soon as you lift it up and try to make another shape out of nowhere, it cancels out the evenness. It's like crazy.
It's as if what you're describing is that the line kept informing you.
She said, the line kept informing me. I agree. Yeah, every time I would, because I was like trying to do it my way. You know, I was like, no. That technique is quite older than you. So, but yeah, I definitely, and then like, you know, like little TPs and kind of adding things in there, like historical values. The water for me is like Grecian peoples that live near the sea, and then native. And
So
then
you
the
sort
mixtures
of
in
have a
between.
theme, and my theme that I'm saying from you is, we all need to get together or be together. Because I mean, your theme, I guess you used the word thread, it's like, at least with the ones that you're
Yeah.
showing, it all seems to be the same thing.
Yeah, I wanna be a part of the change. I really do, and I don't really know how else to other at this point. Like, so if I figured, like, when my grandma passed, it was when I was trying to draw her face. Like, I was trying to draw her face like within one line, and then it was like 1 a.m. and by the time I finished, it was like 6, but I had like 60, 80, 100 drawings in this style that I didn't even understand what I had. And so in that set, that's when it made me realize, I was like, if you work hard enough and you keep something consistent, you'll grow. Because like sometimes I get tired of how I perceive things, and then God will show me something different. But like in the process of learning how art not only sells but communicates, the consistency was something that I realized like you have to practice that. You have to practice being consistent and having some type of common thread. Because then that's how you can like kind of tell a story and like talk to people about different stuff. So that's where I was like, let me simplify the drawing style and then make the content more about like what we need to do. So it's like people are less looking at like the line work, you know what I mean? It's like I simplify that so I can tell a story. So yes, very, very threaded kind of interpretation. What we got over here? Okay.
It's a surprise, we forgot which ones we.
No, well this one I just pulled out at the last minute. I think Heather knows this dude, and we've been, and he wowed out. Isaac, I don't know if you were there the other day, but this dude
Maybe you could bring that up front where the microphone is, because
We can't see it.
check. Okay, let me bring this one up
Great,
into
thank
the
you.
middle.
yeah.
Let me bring this one up into the middle. I like to draw, like something I like to draw. I like to paint people I know, but like not like exactly like how they look. And it's just really important to me to like be able to do that because then you don't take yourself so serious. Like and then you can paint something that's like hyper realistic, and then if you can do both, then you really don't take yourself serious. You're like, don't take yourself serious. So this type of style of painting is I would say it's kind of an abstract cubist painting, but this young man, he comes to the coffee shop in the mornings and he just sits and he plays guitar for a couple hours and just like work on songs. And I was just sitting with him one day and he was kind of just looking off and just reading some of his lyrics back, and I was listening to him, and it was just like a perfect moment where I was watching this person get inspired, and I just took a brief moment and I just on the spot actually had this canvas there, so it was cool. I got to just draw him, and then later on I ended up filling in, but it's just, I think those, moments like that, they matter, like when you catch a person getting inspired or like when their mind is taking flight. So this piece is very important in that way. Thank you guys for coming out. Seriously, it's a blessing to kind of be around so many different types of people who I'm sure do interesting and creative things as well. So I'm just happy to be reintegrating because I've sacrificed a lot to paint and to keep doing it. So it means a lot to touch anybody's heart tonight, to follow more of your creative craft. If you're hearing like a whisper in your head about something that you might not even be great at it, but if you love it, it was a dream that God gave you. So I want to encourage anyone here tonight to kind of put your dream, whatever that is right now, in your mind. Try to put it into a little bit more action, even start tomorrow. Whether it's like writing an outline about how you're going to try to go about it, or it's taking one step to bring your gift up, because you never know if you might touch somebody's heart. So I went to school for apparel manufacturing, and I minored in fashion design, and it was like it kind of became like a really interesting thing where you're doing all kinds of designs and you're like learning what. I had a course on demographics, and that course basically taught you how to sell what, where, and when. And that was a really cool thing because you start going through different designs and textiles. And I think when I got to textiles, it just blew my mind. Like I did not know you could block printing was like a whole other man. It just changed the game for me. Like learning how to block print and learning how to make traditional hand cut, wood cut, and linoleum cut blocks and transfer them onto fabric and do all this. But it was the design part where you're making the textiles that actually really kind of just blew my lid off. And I was always wondering how I could put everything together. And I think it came when I was talking to a friend about there was like a homeless population in Mar Vista a couple years ago that was really wild. And I remember we were talking about how if we could help them in any way, like what would be one thing that we could give them? And like we agreed kind of like that basically pants and jackets that were kind of like all weather would be something good to like kind of keep in the back of our minds. And then so I started sourcing fabric, and I ended up sourcing the right fabric, and he wanted to invest in the idea, and we started putting together a whole entire brand, and which actually we're still working on releasing some stuff this coming year. But so as we put that brand together, and then COVID happened, yeah, remember, guys, then we had to take a little brief pause, but in the process of it, I kept doing textiles and kept just working in this style.
Can you
And
move that one over too, please?
what was that?
Can you move it?
Can't see it.
Can't see
Ooh,
that.
my bad.
You're bad.
She's like, you're not bad. Oh, thank you. But yeah, so I talk about the textiles because right now I'm actually working with a couple companies trying to get some cool designs out soon. I brought
You
a
have that one
jacket.
sample, right? You wanna show that one
Yeah,
sample?
yeah,
You
that's,
want me to put it on?
yeah, why don't you put it on, Heather? I definitely can. The medium woman's jacket, it will be very small.
See, that's where he's working with the jacket manufacturer.
Yeah, so, and the place is called Love Stitch LA. Oh, why is the picture perfect to watch? Hilarious. Of course. She's like, but yes. So I've been working with like a couple of different companies doing some designs and some textiles, skateboarding included, and I've been really getting into the textile design, and it's it's kind of funny to like see the art go into, because like every little drawing is like your baby. You don't want to like let it go, but this is the part where you gotta say no. And you send like packs of like 12 drawings, and the person has to tear each one of them apart and tell you that they hate it, and you have to go through the whole process. But it's worth it because now I can distribute across the globe if I just put my pride aside and just like let people take the designs and do what God kind of like meant for that relationship to be. So now I'm learning about the business side of like taking your art and, you know, creating business relationships that, man, it's like this is hard because I'm like trying to figure it all out, and every moment like you just want to like kind of give up, but you cannot do it. And like little by little I'm seeing things like kind of go into place. So again, more encouragement for anybody out there that's trying to do their thing. Keep doing it because we need each other right now.
But we just had the last two that are part of the same series, right?
Yes, these two. So these two are actually a part of a series called Jazz Attack. If you want to like hear some interesting stories about jazz and the word itself and where it derived from, Google it. You know, you might be able to get a bit of truth out of it. But but I in ode to just the music that just changed my life and so many people. I started this series, and I actually there's one more piece that I didn't bring out, but there's just something about jazz music that has just, it's something about this. I think it's the chitlins in it. I think it's there's something about it. I don't, like, you know, I just remember even growing up and like sitting in just hearing Lily's raspy voice and watching my grandma in the kitchen bopping while she was cooking. And so this painting right here is really like one of my favorite styles that I'm doing these days. It's like continuous line drawing and doing hyper-realistic things, but mixing them with childlike drawing and doing it on purpose. And I think I like it because it, like, people will see some of my other paintings and they're like, why aren't you painting like that? And I'm like, because we wouldn't be having this conversation, you know, and it's like that's art is subjective, you know, when people know that you can do something that they think is great, but you can talk to people more by simplifying that and worrying about the story. That's way more important to us. So, I mean, this is definitely a painting that I really love. You know, you got your guitar player over here. Heather was asking what this is. It's actually a saxophone mouthpiece, that little piece right there. And then I could sit and explain this whole entire painting to you, but I'd rather just let you guys kind of just interpret it for yourselves, because that's the beauty of it. You can see, you might see a fish or a flower, or Nina Simone. You know what I mean? And while we're talking about that one, I do want to bring this one out so we can see them together. I love Miles Davis. Oh no. Here we go. Thanks. I love Miles Davis and Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker. I was talking about Charlie Parker the other day. Somebody looked at me and I was like, never mind. It's like, this is the generation. And I know I'm young, but at least I know who that is. So this other part of the series, like just the horn, just the way that the trumpet sounds. Like even what is that? What is the name of the horn that you play on Sundays?
It's called a trumpet with rotary valves.
Okay, because
Which
I've
makes
never
it
seen.
softer.
Whoo! Hey, this man can play it out. You know what I mean? But so there's something about growing up around hearing the horn and just like it does something to my soul. And I mean, I could never play the horn. I do play harmonica, and like that's as close as I can get to it. But it's just something about the horn and just seeing some of these musicians' lives, like what they went through to like even play, like just to go out and play, and like I can imagine just so many stories that I've heard and like even read about, just like what they did so that I could stand here and really share about, you know, my ancestry and the hard truth about how we all came from people who got back up. Did we not? We did. Because, I mean, we wouldn't even be here right now if the ones who came before us didn't get back up. So, that's Runson in a portion of a nutshell. I call myself crazy sometimes, but I know I'm not crazy, I just am different. And I don't mind that. And if you feel different, and you feel indifferent,
Are you there?
yeah, I was just gonna get this so I can sit down. And just before I go any further, just say, I just want you guys to leave this place knowing that you were called to come here tonight. When I was like cycling through what songs I was gonna play, and just nothing seemed right. And I thought about, I was like, oh, that's probably because like God loves them so much that He wants you to be in the place when He gives you the music that you're gonna play. And I just want you to know how important you can be to somebody's life when you go out of your way to share kindness, even through your gift. Before I go any further, just reminding you guys of that, because millions of people didn't even wake up this morning. Millions of people like went to sleep last night like, yep, I'm gonna have bacon and eggs in the morning, and the Lord took them home, but gave us the opportunity to just see one more day. There's something special about the change that we created today. So, yeah. I have one more song.
Can we clap now and then we'll clap again?
Yeah.
Sugar-coated. But isn't that music sometimes like so put into a bow, so nice and pretty, you know, it's all the song up. I'd rather just tell you, you have a calling. Your calling might not be sweet or beautiful at first. No, it might start like one of those trees in those places that it's all beat up and dry for 5 years, like bamboo. For the first 5 years, it doesn't even grow outside of the surface. But once it hits that first year of growth, it grows about 90 feet. And when you step in your calling, at first, you're not gonna see the change. You're not gonna see how you're affecting people. You're just gonna feel all of the things that we all feel when we're trying to even be half of a good person. But in the process of you trying, you start following your calling. You would realize that we weren't just being here to just enjoy whatever we want. We were meant here to learn what service really is. We have to learn that in that service, we learn about what people need. The song is called The Calling. Reminding us that we're called.
Thank you, my friends. Some of you have been here before, so you know that afterwards we see. Look at there's Rachel. She brings out the charcuterie. She's going to. We have sparkling water and sparkling wine. I don't know in which order that happened, the wine and the water, but you know, in this place anything can happen. And then there'll be cookies and sweets up here, also with some sparkling beverages. You're all invited to stay and to visit, and mainly, what I want you to do is take time to look at the work more closely and to ask yourself, should one of these pieces go home with me tonight? I don't know if some of you may know tomorrow is actually Easter. It's a day where we celebrate new life, and you could add some new life to your home with one of these fantastic paintings. Talk to Runson about it, and come back again on May 17th. We are going to have a, oh, you're here! Look at Kindred Davis is a phenomenal poet. She's a Fulbright scholar who's traveled to Russia like 12 times. She writes amazing poetry that's rich about faith and doubt, and then also about nature. You've done things at, which was Yosemite? Somewhere you got a...
Nebraska and Navajo Reservation.
Similar. Okay. No, so anyhow, we're going to get to know more about her, and so this night has been just bursting colors, sounds, everything. Then we're going to go back, strip everything down to the word and one voice and poetry next month, May 17th. So all of you come, and if it's your first time here, we're so glad to have you here. And if you come again, just know what we do is we start at 6:30 because we have a presentation and conversation with the artist.